Hello everyone, my name is Nemanja from Next PC Optimization. Today we'll be talking about RAM speed, RAM latency, and RAM capacity. Does it actually matter? Is it worth it to invest into better RAM? And will it actually help with your gaming performance? Keep watching the video to find out. Today we'll be testing both Warzone and Fortnite with 16 and 32GB configurations with the RAM. We'll be running native 2133MHz, that's native DDR4 speed. We'll be running XMP at 3600MHz CL16. It will also be overclocking the RAM to 3800MHz and dropping down timings, and I will show you comparisons between all of those, so you guys can decide by yourself. Alright, here we are in the Warzone. Do gotta hurry, the gas is coming. Okay, let's check out the settings. I'm using the exact same settings as before. FPS 3.0 balanced and mostly low settings. Do keep in mind that I'm recording, so that definitely takes a toll on the FPS, but I'll be using the exact same settings on all RAM configurations. So let's go slowly down this road, the same road we usually use. So right now with recording and 2400 MHz RAM, we are getting about 100 to probably 105, 110 FPS. We're just gonna go down to that, what is that, like a tank or something, I can't see from here, and that should be enough sample data. It's definitely decently stable. I was expecting it to be less stable, and I don't really see any stutters or anything, so that's great. That's well, like a Bradley or something. Let's go down to this truck. So here we go, got about 110 now. That's decent, definitely not bad, but we are in a CPU bottleneck. As you can see on the top left, we're running a 95% load on our CPU. So yeah, I'll be using the exact same settings for OBS and the game later when we move over to faster RAM. For now, yeah, let's go over and enable just the XMP for now. Alright, here we are in Fortnite. We're about to start running. This is a replay of the gameplay that I just played, just ran around to see how everything runs. So I'm gonna be using the exact same settings and the exact same replay for all the tests. This is on 2400 MHz, 32GB. As you can see, we're running anywhere between 170 and like 210, I would say. What I can say is it was definitely fairly stuttery, as I guess you can see some dips in the frame rate even in this replay. So yeah, so it was stuttering quite a bit there on that turn earlier. This is also on Fortnite performance mode, not DirectX 12 or 11. So we just entered the car now. And we do have another 20-ish to 30-ish seconds of gameplay. I'll let you see all of it so you can judge for yourself how it runs now and later. Again, I'm gonna use the exact same settings for all replays. And we found the llama right here. That did actually give us some of those jumpy things, I don't know what they're called. But it was useful to test out some faster paced movement, I guess. Some jumps, you can see massive dips right there as we jumped. And roughly here is where the replay ends. It should be right here, yeah. So there you go, you saw how that run. So let's go to the XMP version now. Alright, here we are back at the exact same spot. Again, let me show you my settings. Balanced FPS 3.0, mostly low settings. Let's go. It was running about 100 to 110 before, so this is just with XMP. There's no tuning or anything. We definitely see a decent FPS boost, talking 15-20%, which is great for, you know, simply just clicking a button mostly. I believe that at the Bradley right here we had like 105, 110, something like that. Let's go over to the Bradley and then we're gonna finish up later at that truck. So right here it's doing pretty good. I mean 115, 125, somewhere in between that, hitting 130 sometimes. So yeah, for a single click of a button, that is great. Keep in mind, this is not like the fastest RAM out there, so definitely a good improvement. Okay, so let's now go over and overclock the RAM. Alright, here we are at the exact same spot we're running right now. So let's see, we're doing about 320 FPS here. Definitely looks better than before. 250 to 60 right here. And I believe at this next turn that we're coming to, I did have a fairly large dip in FPS. It was stuttering quite a bit when I actually played right there on 2400. We're currently on 3600 MHz, just XMP. There is no tuning, this is just XMP. Definitely still some dips, but much smoother, I can say. And the overall FPS looks much better. 330 FPS right here, 350, 360, really good. 380 right there, really good. We're about to enter a car. I think we were running like 200 something, 220 to 30 when we jumped here. Let's see, let's do the jump. It's definitely a little bit better, nothing crazy. I know that it fell to 150 when when the car touched the ground, so it was 200 here, so definitely smoother. Go to the llama right here. I don't quite remember what the FPS was at the llama though. But I know it was decent, it was like 240 or something, 250. And here we got the jumpy gravity thing. Jump around. It jumped to like 130 right here, so it was 150 now. That's a little bit better, nothing crazy. And let's do the last jump. There we go. So it's pretty bad right here on the house. It was like 140. So that's all for this replay. Let's now tune up the RAM and give it a test. Alright, here we are at the spot. The gas is right behind us. So FSR balanced and mostly low settings. Here's the gas coming. So let's go. This is 3800 MHz tuned RAM. So that is from 3600 we went to 3800 MHz, and we also dropped the timings. So it should run, 2, 3, 4 FPS better in this case. Nothing crazy. Again, the main difference is going to be between stock 2400 or 2133 depending on the RAM to actual XMP. Again, you may get higher or lower improvement than me. It just depends on the exact RAM that you're actually running. I'll be honest, sometimes, I mean, you'll know better than me because you can see the comparison next to each other. But it looks to be the same or worse in this case, which is quite strange if I'm honest. Some places looks good, like 130 right there a few seconds ago. That's great. And of course I am recording, so that kinda makes a big difference. But that's fine. Let's move over to 16 versus 32 gigabyte version in a moment. Here we are in the position. We just started running. And right here with tuned 3800 MHz CL16 RAM, running about 260 FPS. Definitely not going to be as huge of a difference as from 2400 to 3600. That should be obvious. But yeah, it looks to be running pretty good. I actually, I'll have a comparison. You guys know better than me because you can see it kind of next to each other. It looks to be running either barely faster or the same, nothing crazy, but we're gonna have a small comparison just to be sure. Here we are about to get to the car running like 320 here. I think I saw like 380 at some point. Yeah, there it was, like 370 something. So it's a much smaller difference, at least in Fortnite, than compared to going from no XMP to XMP running. And we were like 190 something when we fell right here. And that was actually better. It was like a 205, 207, something like that. So there's a small improvement right there. Obviously, we're getting towards a point of negligible returns. Here's the llama. I think we're getting better FPS right here where the llama is. So let's do those jumps. The FPS when we jumped looked slightly better or the same. And right here we're getting 210, and it was like, yeah, 140, 130 right here. Basically very similar to what it was before, so it doesn't matter as much as XMP matters. XMP is a massive thing for gaming. So now with the tuned RAM, let's see the difference between 16 and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Alright, here we're at the exact same spot in Fortnite. Now we're running 16 gigabytes of RAM instead of 32 to see what kind of a difference that makes, if any. Straight up, I can say that there is barely any difference. Perhaps, just perhaps, some FPS stability, but really it doesn't matter much in this case because we're only using 8 gigabytes of RAM, as you can see here on the top left. Only 8,000 megabytes, which is roughly 8 gigabytes of memory. So it really doesn't matter too much, at least in Fortnite. 16 gigabytes, as long as you don't have a bunch of stuff running in the background, will do you just fine. You can see it runs here 330, 340. That's great. I didn't see that 380 that we saw before, so perhaps we lost a few FPS. But overall, if you're, let's say, on a budget, it definitely isn't that worth it to go 32 gigabytes over 16 gigabytes. If you got a good deal on a 16 gigabyte kit. But I'll be fair, some games are absolutely required to run 32 gigabytes. Otherwise you will run really bad. But really, for like 99% of the games, you'll have a great experience on even 16 gigabytes. But it doesn't matter, it does depend on what you actually run in the background and what game it is. But overall, this runs pretty well. I did see some lower dips compared to running 32 gigabytes. So yeah, I would say that it is definitely worth it to go 32 gigabytes if you have the budget. It's definitely a norm now in 2024, but it's not gonna really make or break the gaming experience that you have. That should be everything for Fortnite. Let's move over to Warzone. Alright, here we're at the spot again. This is running 16 gigabytes instead of 32 gigabytes now, but the speed and the timings are the exact same. Again, here we are, FSR 3.0 and mostly low settings. Let's start running. And to me, this looks like the exact same FPS as before, perhaps 2-3 FPS less, but nothing crazy. Definitely using more RAM than, for example, Fortnite, so it may be impacted more by having less RAM, but it's definitely nothing too bad. Running 115, 120. I think we actually got a decent lobby right here. I didn't see anyone really drop around me, so there's nobody around us to, that we have to render and stuff like that. But yeah, this is actually running pretty well. I think we got actually a terrible lobby when we did a 3800 megahertz like overclocked test, because this is decently stable. Looks like the same FPS, maybe a little bit more even. So yeah, I think we got a pretty bad lobby before. So yeah, that should be everything for the test today. What's the conclusion, you may be asking? So as long as your XMP is on, you're getting the vast majority of the FPS that you will be getting from your RAM. Obviously it does depend on other factors like what RAM you have, what you play, what you have running in the background. But yeah, realistically, as long as you have XMP on, you're getting the most out of your RAM. Like overclocking will definitely help. It depends on the RAM again, but it's nothing insane really. But it definitely runs much better with XMP compared to without. But do keep in mind that I am recording with the CPU, so that does give us, kind of a strange situation. Yeah, that should be everything from me today. I thank you guys for watching the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments or join my Discord or contact me through my website. They'll both be linked in the description as well as on your screen right now. That should be everything. Thanks again, and I wish you all a great rest of your day.